Hello, precious mamas and mamas-to-be. Welcome to my mind-opening interview series with important authorities in the birth world. This is your host, Ilka with the Liberated Birth Movement, broadcasting from around the world. In this interview series, we're going to once again uncover myths, ask interesting questions, and get out-of-the-box answers. Hello, precious mamas. Welcome to another interview. Today, I am really excited to have Hannah Idarius with me. And Hannah is a lot of things, but what she is she is a process coach at Process Coaching Institute. And she is an expert in process coaching for pregnancy and birth. And she's also written a book about the whole childbearing year. And I'm super excited to talk with her about some really interesting things. But we're not just going to be talking. We're actually going to do some really nice and present exercises. So I'm very excited to have you on. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Ilka. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. I'm honored that you wanted to have me here. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So let me just tell real quick how we met. That was also through process coaching, and a very strange detour. Suzanne Arms somehow got me to come to a workshop, which changed my life. I gotta say, like literally in one weekend, I was like, oh my God, I know why I'm here. And I know I am like, I need to look deeper into that. So process coaching has helped me in the last few years a lot to heal my own story that I had about my birth and everything that evolved there in my emotional and relationship life. And it has allowed me to look deeper into how our own birth story and birth experience influences us throughout our life. So I'm super excited to talk with you about these things, and maybe you can tell me a little bit more about your background and how you got into the specific field and why you were all excited about pregnancy and birth.
Sure. So in my early 20s, my friends were getting pregnant and I was asked to attend the births. And so that's kind of what drew me in. And I loved being at births. It was wonderful. And so I started studying midwifery, and my beginning was in British Columbia. So, home births was my specialty. And then I was in Arizona, was licensed as a midwife in Arizona before moving to California, and was licensed in California where I am now.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I specialized in water birth. I was just invited to, I think it was the 5th water birth in the U.S. And, was just so moved by the power of water to help women relax. Very, very present themselves in their bodies. Yeah. So that was 30 years as a home birth.
May I just ask you to go a little closer to the microphone? Otherwise, it'll pick up my picture and then they see me and hear you talk. So you got to be a little louder than me.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
If I speak up?
Wonderful.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Good. Right. So, so 30 years as a home birth midwife, just, totally immersed, loving it. And then having some, during that time, noticing that a woman's unprocessed trauma would come up at birth. So, very interested in what can we do to move that energy so that, a woman can have the best birth for herself and her baby possible. So that became another focus of, healing trauma and healing our own birth trauma. And, so I worked with couples a lot with that and taught workshops and, and then homeopathy came in as a, wonderful way of supporting women during their labor, helped me open to the mental emotional aspects even deeper, because that homeopathic is very, very holistic medicine. And when my son was born, I, found it so incredibly helpful with him. So, and then, so then now we're up to like really 18 years ago where I had my own trauma be triggered, and I found process coaching, and it's really the only modality that I found that has been able to take me to the root, the cause,
Mm-hmm.
the bottom of, my own birth trauma.
Totally.
And yeah, so I've been working and collaborating and developing that for the last 18 years.
Wow. You're
Yeah.
definitely an expert, 30 years of midwifery, and then, going through your own process and then discovering process coaching can you tell me a little bit like has it helped you personally to move things? Because for me, it felt like it was like it just literally pointed a light on what was, you said, the root, right, of it all. And then it kind of like
Yeah.
dissolved it so that it could like really just be absorbed in my body and my soul, and I could move on in a different way.
Right. It's helped me so much in all areas of my life. Relating intimately with my partner, where intimacy was very scary to me. And, just learning how to be present with myself and to not project whatever was going on inside of me onto my partner or onto whomever, but how to really find what was going on inside of me and bring love to my deepest hurt parts, so that I could be more of who I am. There, we've learned to avoid our hurt, our pain, and move towards good feelings. Of course, I mean, we want more good feelings. It's just that, the things that haven't felt so good are important to get in touch with and be the one that can love and bring acceptance to those parts too, because then we're not getting triggered by those things. It's like those parts are calling to us, our deep, dark, feminine parts that are wanting love, wanting acceptance, and that's what creates wholeness. And so that we can be more of who we are and have more of what we want and have, the love in our relating with our partner or with others that we truly desire.
Totally.
So it's helped me tremendously.
Wow. So process coaching is all about, I would say, getting out of your mind. Not necessarily getting out of your mind, but more like reconnecting truly with your body and therefore with the present moment and with everything that, all the energies that are going on in the body. So there's a lot of physical exercises, and one of them is like just squeezing your toes, which we did before we started this interview, just like squeezing your toes and grounding yourself and actually feeling your body, right? So maybe you can tell me a little bit more how these things and how the reconnection to our body, can help us go through the birth process or can be beneficial. And, if you want to throw something in, I'll be ready for that.
Right. So as you've probably noticed, just being pregnant, that you have more feelings that are just love. So it's kind of the
Too many.
Right. So, the feminine is flowing. She feels the feminine in us. And so, as we're preparing for birth, there are a lot of feelings that are just moving, and that's the thing, is that they like to move. Feelings like to move. And when we bring acceptance to just sensation in body, they can move. They know what to do. So it's like body, we have access to the wisdom of how how to birth. And this is, I mean, I know you know this as, you've been at births, that's what we do as birth support, as a doula, is support women in really being present energetically as body, so that they can allow body to do what it knows how to do, which is to move energy, and that's what allows birth to happen. So that same principle is true even when we're not in labor, because we're always in labor. We're always giving birth to this present moment. So the more we can drop in and just let the energy of body move through us, we have more aliveness. We have the ability to heal. We have, our life force is available to us from that place. We've learned when we've had, past trauma or past overwhelm, whatever, from our experiences, we've been conditioned to go into our minds as, that what I'm experiencing in body is a problem. So that sends us into our minds to try to figure out and understand, the solution to the problem. But in my experience, that doesn't work. The solution is not in the mind. The solution is in body, and just to allow ourselves to really, really feel and be present in this moment. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I like that a lot. Yes, I have to tell you, I feel like a lot of women that had, in my experience, difficult labors got caught up in their mind, and not just during their birth, but throughout pregnancy, because there is so much, right? There's so much that comes on to us, outside information, and people, either approving or not approving of you, all the fears that we don't know how to handle them. Are they actually, fears that we gotta listen to, or are these fears that are put on us from the outside? So there's a lot of things that are going on in our mind constantly, right? And it really brings us out of this experience of truly feeling and truly connecting with this other being that's inside of us. And I personally have to, even though I feel like I'm learned, through process coaching and yoga and breathing and all these things, to really connect to my body, but I have to make a daily effort to really say now I'm present, now I'm right here, now I'm not thinking about the future or the past or this person or that thing, right? But truly being here. And it really takes a lot of practice. You wouldn't think that this is something we need to practice, right? Humans are supposed to be in the present, especially as women if we're giving birth, but we're so distracted by all these other things that we really have to practice that again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our culture, and I would say it's spreading to the whole world culture, is that the mind is superior to feelings. And so, it's so important to have a daily practice to really ground in body and stay present in as body moment to moment is really, really important. And that's kind of really the core of process coaching, is how to do that, how to be present in myself and what I'm experiencing. Yeah, very, very important.
So we were talking about a little bit about masculine and feminine energy, right? And one thing that, maybe isn't, not maybe everyone is aware of that, we have both of these energies run in our body. And that was something that was really interesting for me personally too, to experience, is I was always a tomboy, right? So I always knew I had some masculine energy in me, but accepting that and honoring that in a way, and also honoring my own feminine energy, it became very important in my own healing process. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, because I think it's not as easy for women or anyone in this world actually to accept ourselves as this wholeness of all these energies that are flowing through us. And may I just ask you to speak up a little bit more?
Oh, sure, sure. Is
Here you
that
go.
better?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. It seemed, yeah, it feels like I'm yelling a little bit and I'm, yeah, fine doing that. So yeah, when we're talking about masculine and feminine energy, we're not talking about male and female bodies, because whether we're in a female body or we're in a male body, we have masculine and feminine energy. So masculine energy is consciousness, awareness, attention, and feminine energy are feelings, what I call sentience, but just feelings. So we want to have, as much as possible, a loving consciousness, loving the feminine inside of us, the feminine, our feelings. And then that creates balance, and that creates healing. So I don't know, maybe we can, I think it'd be helpful if we just demonstrated a little bit like what we mean. So I
Yes.
know we talked about it a little bit before, Ilka.
Yeah, so I said I'm
But
actually really afraid of Hannah doing some magic on me because I'm so emotional. I'm gonna cry all over the place, but I'll let her guide me. And if you
yeah,
guys,
and
if
I said
I'm
we
starting to
could cry
cry.
together. Could cry together. Yeah. So so one of the feelings of the feminine, really the core feeling of the feminine, is desire. I mean, her nature is desire. She
Mm.
wants, she's magnetic. She draws, that feminine energy. So if you were to maybe just state what your desire is for your birth,
Mhm.
just one, short sentence. So I desire, I want.
I desire a peaceful, loving, and supportive birth experience that lets
Mm,
me emerge confidently and powerfully into my motherhood.
awesome. Ooh. Oh, yeah, that feels really good.
Yeah, it gave me, I never actually said it out loud like this, which is interesting. Like I've
Mhm.
written it out, but I've never actually said it out loud. So thank you for that.
You bet. You bet. Thank you. Yeah, it felt really good. I got the shivers too. So just allow yourself to feel, just notice when you think of that desire, where do you experience the energy of that in your body,
Hmm.
between your neck and your bottom?
I would say like clearly the first thing that came up was like in like my solar plexus, like right
Mm-hmm.
underneath my ribs or like on top of my belly though. But then it also like radiated kind of this energy into my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Beautiful.
I would say like right here.
Okay, great, great. So
Hmm.
just bringing your attention there with curiosity. Okay, so this is consciousness, loving consciousness coming down to feel. Um, just notice, what is that energy like? Is it still? Is it moving? Is it tight, loose, warm, cool, hard, soft, sharp, dull? Any sensation? Just
Oh, it's like a
yeah.
burning. Yeah, it's like a burning in a good way though, like a warming, I would say. Maybe even like a little bit fiery.
Uh-huh.
Definitely moving. It's a lot of movement.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
how would I say? Yeah, it's tense also, or dense,
Mm-hmm.
better. That's like, it's a dense, moving, hot energy. Interesting.
Great,
Huh.
great, great. So would it be okay to just put your hand on where that energy is in your
Hmm.
body?
Hmm.
Great. Good, good, awesome. And
Mm.
just go ahead and breathe some space around the energy. So basically you're welcoming it. Yes, I'm glad you're here. By just breathing space around it, giving it room to be. Good. And just notice what happens to the energy as you do that. as you bring it
Mm.
acceptance.
Yeah, that heat is kind of it's kind of like, when you like go on the gas burner, you slowly turn it back a little bit. If it's like too crazy, it just like calmed
Mhm.
down a little bit, and it like kind of spread more into my heart area, I would say.
Uh-huh. Good, good. Okay. So are you comfortable with this energy the way it is?
Yes, I'm definitely comfortable. It's a powerful energy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah, it comes like right from the center of my being, it feels like. But yes,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can encompass it or hold it.
Great. So you have this wonderful resource, Ilka, I want to point out. You have acceptance for intensity of sensation, which is
Mm,
really, really a wonderful resource to have because sensations often are intense,
mm.
and to
Especially
be
birth.
present,
Oh my God.
especially birth.
Mhm,
Right, right, especially birth. Right. So this is a
mhm,
wonderful resource to have
mm,
is, oh, it's energy. Yes, I can breathe space around it. Just let it be and know that I'm
mhm,
okay experiencing
mhm,
this.
mhm.
Good,
Well,
good,
thank you for
good.
pointing this out. Yeah.
hmm So go ahead and just give it even more room. Give it as much space as it wants, the energy. Move. Good. Excellent.
Actually moved down to my baby a little bit, it feels like.
Aw, nice. Nice. Yeah.
Mm, mhm.
Good. Excellent.
Mm.
Beautiful.
It feels like it's not dissolving, that's not the right word, but it's kind of, it feels like it's being absorbed into my cells and into my bloodstream and into like, it's not as dense anymore. It's just
Mhm,
like
mhm.
kind of all over the place. Oh, it's hard to
Great.
describe.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. And I want to point that you didn't decide that that's what you wanted your energy to do. Okay? That would have been mind telling the feeling, do this or be this way because this is my
Mhm,
preference. We didn't do that. What
mhm,
you did was you just gave space for the
mhm,
energy just the way it was. And the
mhm,
energy was able to move and, the relaxation just kind of
mhm,
came in because that's what happens when we bring loving acceptance to our feelings. That's the loving masculine being present for the
mhm,
feminine inside of us.
mhm.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, great. So there's one
Mm.
other little piece. You ready for a little bit more?
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So every desire, okay, you feeling that desire?
Mhm, mhm.
Great. Good, good. This is your desire energy. Feels good,
It
right?
does. It feels
Yeah.
familiar too. It feels like I know you. I know you. Yeah, we're buddies.
Yeah. It's the energy of sex. It's the energy of lovemaking. It's the
Mhm,
energy of not. It's like it's so juicy and yummy and yeah, it's the energy of birth. Yeah, it's the energy of life. It's the feminine energy.
mm,
Yeah. So every desire has an edge,
mm,
okay?
mhm,
So when you feel into this energy, just find one thing that is not okay, kind of where it feels a little edgy,
mhm, mhm.
and just let me know where you experience that.
Um, I think it like kind of like the entire like feeling kind of lowered down a little bit more into like it's interesting because my womb space is like so different, my energy there anyway, but like it kind of felt like it came down into my like that space behind the navel, like my second chakra type of place
Mm-hmm.
right there.
Okay.
And I think there's like a fear connected with it, but it's just I can just describe it as like a density, like you know, of maybe that's not what I get, right? Maybe it's gonna be intense, way more intense than I can handle. So like, whoa, I'm not sure if I can do this, right? Even though I feel like
Right.
really good about it, but like there is this, because you're asking for the edge, that there is definitely like in my womb space, there is this like, okay, gotta relax a little.
Okay. So our internet was bleeping out a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I got most of what you were sharing. So feeling into that edgy energy, how would you describe it? Is it still? Is it moving?
It's
Tight?
actually
What
more
is?
still. It's a tighter kind of like a dense spot that's like behind my navel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So go ahead and breathe space around that energy. Okay. That tense spot right there around your navel. Just give it some room to be just the way it is. And you can even breathe a little bit into it if you'd like, if that would feel good to the energy.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's like a knot type of thing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the more I
Okay.
actually breathe in, the like looser it becomes.
Okay. Okay, great. So when you feel into this energy, even as it's loosening up, is there a judgment that comes to mind in the form of I'm bad because I?
Hmm. Hmm. Maybe not necessarily I'm bad, but I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
shouldn't
I shouldn't
what?
feel, I shouldn't feel, or I shouldn't want. That's more what comes up. I shouldn't want
Oh,
it to be peaceful. That is interesting.
that's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
See
is
how
it okay if
conditioned
I,
we are. This is interesting. Wow.
oh,
Yes,
so
please go into
good.
it. Yes, yes, yes.
Great. So when you feel into the energy,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
lead you to some statements and you'll just say them, but the main thing is just for you to feel,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Yes.
So when you feel into the energy, I release the judgment that I'm bad
I release the judgment that I'm bad,
because I shouldn't want my birth to be peaceful.
because I shouldn't want my birth to be peaceful.
All right. Yeah.
Mm.
Good. Breathe. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. And I release the judgment
I release the judgment
that wanting my birth to be peaceful
that wanting my birth to be peaceful
is bad or wrong.
is bad or wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah.
Mm.
And just coming back to the energy, just notice what you're experiencing there
Mm.
now.
Mm. It feels like it kind of shrunk, like from
Mm-hmm.
being this like nod to like being like a little like pit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it kind of feels like more acceptance towards that feeling, right? Just like,
Mm-hmm. Right.
it's okay feeling. Let me hug you. That's kind of like
Okay.
what just came up. It's like, yeah, it's okay to feel that way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just give space for the energy just the way it is now. You said it's just a little, I can't remember the word you
Pit.
used, but
Yeah, a little pit. Mhm.
So just breathe some space around that. Give it, give it that hug that, yes, it's okay that you're here.
Mm.
So are you okay with this energy, or is there another judgment there?
Mm. Yeah, I feel pretty okay with that.
Great, great, great.
Mm.
Good. So
Mm.
just give love to that energy and the original desire
Mhm.
that you were exploring, because this is desire and its edge, and it's all part of the desire.
Mhm.
Okay?
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
give love to all of that energy in your body right now.
Mm.
Feel good?
Mhm. Yeah, that feels good. That feels like, hmm. It feels like it kind of just got manifested through speaking it out loud and accepting it with all it is, right? Um,
Yes.
there's probably a little bit more underneath there if I'd be like taking my time to really explore that. Um,
Right. And we're going to do that another time, but yeah.
yeah, that definitely
Yeah.
is absolutely that is a good um, foundation, to actually know like what is my true desire, like how does that feel, and how can I explore why I might jeopardize my own desire, right? If I'm not
Yes.
aware of my edge.
Right. Right. So typically we've been taught or conditioned that desire is getting an image of how, let's speaking about birth, like how my birth is going to be. So I know I want this and not this and that. But that's not, I mean, that's fine to plan and to have all of that, in place as much as possible. And desire is a felt sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's the core of the feminine. So when I'm present with just the energy of my desire, and then trusting the universe to manifest whatever the next step is for that, then I'm in my power. I'm in my body,
Mm-hmm.
present with my feminine self. And desire is extremely, extremely magnetic. That's her nature. So the chances of my drawing what I truly desire are great if I'm doing that. The other part of it is that there's always an edge to desire. So, again, the conditioning of I want to have what I want and push these other, feelings in me away, that doesn't work very well. It actually empowers the fear or the
Mm-hmm.
so-called
Mm-hmm.
the edginess. So being able to be present with desire energy and its edge, I'm doing this dance with the universe then, that trusting whatever happens next, that I can again just be present with. That's all I have to do, is be present with energy in my body. It's, I'm going to draw what I want, and the chances of my having the type of birth that I want are going to be even greater. It also opens me, or a woman, you, up to any traumatized feelings or experiences that haven't been dealt with. And so, for me to be open before birth, ideally, but, these feelings come up in birth too, so that I can move with them, then, I'm less likely to trigger those situations later on. So it empowers me to be present in the moment and heal. Because I know one of the questions you wanted to bring forward is about healing birth trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's giving myself the space and the time to really be present with energy and body. I'm going to be able to work through those things, because they're going to, when you're pregnant, it's not just when you're alive. Birth is like so foundational and so fundamental that, what we experience there keeps coming up for the purpose of healing. Like, is there anyone here now that can be present for that newborn infant that I was, or, whatever my child parts are that are calling to me. And process coaching is about, learning the skills to really be present and know how to be there in a loving way with resources for those parts of myself, including, my newborn self, or, and any feelings that are kind of calling and wanting to be integrated.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I think, anyone that's like my age or older might have had, some, at least on the scale, right, some birth trauma. You know what? There's like the ice cream man is coming by here. I don't know if you hear that in the background. That's funny. But so any woman could have experienced her own birth trauma that she might not be aware of, right? And if I would not be like working in the birth world for a decade already, I don't think I would have ever, come to that path of healing my own birth trauma, right? It's like there's always like some sort of detour that brings you to do that. But, we got to be inspired to do that. Often we're not really looking, like the things, my relationships don't work out, or I'm constantly like, doing the wrong career, that it's actually not my purpose or whatever, like that could have anything to do with what we experienced at our birth, right? So I think that's where process coaching was so powerful for me, to like connect the dots and like make sense out of it. And then through that, being able to connect the dots, then, being able to move on. And I think, any woman that has a baby now, should be taking her time to really explore herself throughout her pregnancy and her own birth. I always say, like, it's so wonderful if you can, if your mom is still around and you have a good good relationship, like ask her about your own birth, right? Like what did she go through, and how was that whole experience for you as a baby, so it can make a lot of sense about what you will experience going through your birthing, right?
Right, absolutely. And you're the environment for your child coming through. So, there's such a deep connection that any work you do in healing yourself and your own wounds is going to be the biggest gift you can give to your baby, to your child, because those things are carried through, right? One generation to the next, and so it's kind of like catching, going, okay, I'm going to do this. It's such a beautiful opportunity to heal. And when I'm talking about heal, I'm really meaning bringing love to those parts of myself that have been yearning for love. So it's not fixing. It's not that there's, it's not that, oh, I have trauma, so I'm broken. No, it's more, these are feeling parts of me, my feminine parts, that I want to bring love to, so that I can be more of who I am, so that I can flow more aliveness in, not just as a mom or, in my birth, but just moment to moment in my life. It's just opening to more love inside of myself, or more of myself. So
Totally.
we all have so-called trauma,
Right.
How we all, because we're evolving. So, part of evolution is just to find those parts of ourself that we haven't had love for, hadn't had acceptance for, and, open more deeply, allow ourselves to really deeply evolve in that way.
One question that just came into my mind. I know we're already talking for a while, but hopefully you're willing to go with me a little deeper into that, because I remember you commenting actually a really amazing thing on one of my posts about fear the other day. And I think process coaching can be a really amazing tool as well in dealing, or not dealing with it. It's hard to find the right word, because it's like what you said earlier, I think really spoke to me. Like often the things that we try to push away as far as possible, these are the things that are coming up. So it's more about accepting and exploring our fears, and like since they have such an intense impact on, how we experience birth, and how, women experience their motherhood after birth. And it can be just such a tremendous trajectory in your life, right? And whether this is going to be like something that really caused trauma for you and you'll have to work through this, or if it is something that really catapulted you into a transformative experience in your own power as a mother and a woman. And I feel I think you said something about, like not pushing away the fear, but rather like exploring it and being curious about it. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that. I want to hear it from your own words.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Right. So part of what we've gotten through the conditioning is that fear is bad.
Right.
We shouldn't be afraid. Well, according to whom? I mean, if I'm feeling what I call fear, that's sensation in my body. So I can approach it as, oh, this is a problem, which means I've gone up into my mind and said that some energy in my body is a problem, right? Or another approach is, oh, I have some energy in my body. So even, I encourage women to not even use the label fear or terror, or because there's a story about that. Okay, so about what fear means, and should have it or shouldn't, or what's wrong with me, all of those judgments around having fear. So rather, where's that energy in my body? I mean, I'm able to right now feel this in my root chakra and in my second, just kind of fast moving energy. Yeah. So that's me in the present, feeling that. And maybe you might have some too, Ilka.
Well, there's like a mix of anxiety and excitement, and it's like I always feel like excitement and fear and anxiety, it's like it's all so close together, and it's like really that story that makes the difference, right? It's like, where do I switch this to? Do I switch it to, oh my God, I'm being so excited to meet my baby and to go through this process and to experience that thing, right, that my body is made for? Or if I'm, switching to the other side of the story where it's like, something that I need to thread, and oh my God, it's like, it's going to be painful, and it's going to be dramatic, and it's going to be, something terrible and uncomfortable. And I explored that a lot with Kathleen, one of the process coaches as well, who took care of me. She and I, we explored this a lot together, like what is fear and anxiety, and what is excitement, and how I can change that feeling through, changing the story around it. And, I think what comes up a lot for me, exploring like my own fears, and like also like seeing all the fears that the mamas go through that I work with, is that there is a fear that comes of birth, that comes through the story that is put on us, right? Absolutely. And so we try to solve it in our mind, instead what you just said, like being present with it in the body, and like, okay, what is that at all? Like, do I need to perceive this as fear? What is it? How can I like being curious about it instead of trying to solve it with our mind, because then we're reacting exactly the way we got it put on us somehow. It's an interesting topic.
Exactly. Exactly. That's beautiful. And so one thing you can do is when you notice that there's a story in the mind, like, oh, it's usually about the future, usually
Mm-hmm.
not about the present moment, but because that's how the mind works. It goes into the past, it goes into the future, the conditioned mind, I'm talking about. So if you become aware of some thought or some story that's like scary, you can go, oh, you just notice it and then go, oh, where's that energy in my body?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, got some shaky here. Oh,
Mm.
good. And, shake, just like, woo, yeah, yeah. It's good. This is my life force energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy we call fear, without being denied as or judged against as bad, we just open to it. It becomes excitement
Mm-hmm.
on its own. We're not doing that. We're just giving it that loving acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that was like a big eye-opener for me personally, dealing with my own anxieties about all kinds of things in my life, like realizing, oh, this is actually pretty close to excitement, right? So it was a very interesting thing to learn to accept all of these different parts of myself. I think that is like, if I could summarize what process coaching did for me, or still does daily, is really making me accept all of my parts and all of my shadows and all of my bright lights and all of the things that are, were not as easy to accept or to see, and the blind spots about myself, and, and the biggest part, self-love, right? And
Absolutely.
from there, then being able to really truly see myself as a full whole being, and moving very differently in the world than without having learned all of these things. Yeah, so that it
Yeah.
was a big life changer in my life for sure.
Yeah. And me also, I think, when I was talking about my history, it's like when I came before finding, process coaching and the tools and, perspectives, I had been trying to rise above my, bad feelings and do something to have them feel better, and, all of this mind over type of approach. And this was so different. It was just, oh, these are parts of me that I want to have acceptance for and get to know and integrate so that I can be more of who I really am. And yeah, it's a beautiful journey
And
when
it's a
you have those.
very different approach too than like other therapy approaches that I think, because it does focus on the body mostly, which, if you're going to to see a classical therapist, you're like mostly talking about your problems, you're reinforcing them, right? And you're like, and talking about your anxieties or whatever it is, and you never really explore first of what the root cause of it is, and then also you're never going into your body. And the only other modality besides process coaching I experienced was Hakomi, through
Mhm.
a very good friend of mine. She went through the whole training and became a Hakomi therapist, and our paths were very similar of, going through process coaching, being able to really focus on the body and letting the body heal our emotions, and like coming from that inside out approach, instead of like having, as you said, the mind or the story try to heal the story. Right. So I thought that was just a very different approach to everything else I experienced before. And especially for women going through birth or pregnancy, which truly really just needs us to be in our body, right? That's why I think it's such an amazing modality, or such an amazing tool, is to be able to really connect to your body and to really be able to stay with your feelings and explore that, and not go too much in your mind into that cerebral part that kind of takes
Yeah.
us out from birth, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Okay, we
Absolutely.
have a few more minutes, and I would love to hear all about homeopathy. I have little bit of experience with it myself, but I'm not very familiar with the deeper knowledge of it. So maybe you can give us like a little bit of an insight of what it actually is and how it can help us, be well and heal as well.
Yeah. Okay. So homeopathy is it's energetic medicine, very much like acupuncture. It's that type of medicine where it works on the energy body, on the feeling body, and it's very holistic medicine. So the mental, emotional of what's going on for somebody and how that's connected to the physical symptoms that they're experiencing, you approach it holistically in that way. So um, when I was a midwife in Arizona, and I had my very young son, I think he was just a few months old, and he had colic, quite a bit of colic. And so the woman who was my labor assistant was familiar with homeopathy, and she said, "Can I give him a remedy?" And I said, "Sure." So she, put the very small little pellets under his tongue, and as soon as it hit his mouth, he just quieted down. And every time he would start to get fussy or whatever, I would give him the remedy, and it was like that was the end of the colic. So I became, very, very curious about it and started using it in labor. And it helped me to tune into a deeper, what was going on for a woman laboring. Um, and it's just very, very gentle medicine. So it's, it, so I used it as kind of the primary form of medicine for my son, and then, for myself, and became a homeopath, went to school and learned homeopathy.
So for the
And I
ones that
wrote a book.
are, sorry to interrupt you, for the ones that aren't familiar of what that is, it is basically a plant medicine that you, as you say, works on an energetic level, and it is like
Yeah,
multiple times, sometimes hundreds of times diluted. So it is something that it has like literally, there's no side effects or anything like crazy
right.
effects, but it is more something that is very subtle and influences us on that energetic level, emotionally and psychologically and spiritually as well, that then will help the body to heal itself. Is that right?
Very, very well put, Ilka. Yes,
Okay,
that's
good.
that's it. The remedies are made from plant, animal, and minerals. So yeah, so it's not just plant, and it's
Okay.
very, very dilute. There's no physical substance. It's just, except at the lower potencies. Yeah, and it just kind of gives a little boost, or a little, if wherever the energy is stuck, held, which is what causes disease, it just gives a little gentle push, just a little, and then your own vitality moves on its own. So it's very, very gentle. There are no side effects, which was really wonderful with my young son, because I knew I had something I could do that wouldn't have any side effects. Basically, if you're giving someone a remedy that isn't the right remedy, that won't be helpful, it just won't do anything.
Right, right.
They'll continue with whatever. Yeah, so it was really, and it for labor, it was wonderful. But as the laboring woman, you're not going to want to be the one to use the remedies. You're going to want to have somebody else, that can
Mm,
use it. And I
mhm.
just encourage all midwives and doulas to become familiar with it, because it's such a great resource to have during labor and birth and postpartum, and
Yeah.
infant care, and all of that. So I
So-
just want to mention that I wrote a book called The Homeopathic Childbirth Manual, and
Yes, I wanted to just ask you about that. Yes, exactly.
right. So it's an easy to use manual, so that, right in labor, you can go to whatever's going on, and see what the choices of remedies are and use those.
Right. Because in my understanding, like it is a very like delicate system, and it's not just like, oh, someone that doesn't know me could just like give me these remedies. It kind of, there has to be like a connection between, you know, like I'm studying a little bit of shamanism, right? Where it's the same thing. It's like the plant, the spirit of the plant, and then there is, you know, the person, the doctor, you could call it, right? That like, you know, knows that person and knows how to guide that spirit, which is then, you know, that plant spirit to help that energy to move. So it does, there's more involved than just like the little pellet, and you got to like, you know,
Oh,
really tune into that person.
right.
So I think that's why it is so fascinating to me too, is like, it can be like working for one person, but then the same thing doesn't work for the other person, because it's a very individualized and personalized medicine. It's like the opposite of what we actually have today in modern Western medicine, right? Where it's like one pill for everyone. And
Right.
it's more like you really got to tune into your own healing as well.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's learning. I mean, body is speaking to us all the time, trying to let us know where
Right.
it wants attention and support, and, you know, and so it's learning how to tune into that language of body, which is symptoms, which are mental, they're emotional, they're physical. Those are all we call symptoms, but
Right.
and it doesn't mean, again, that we're diseased, or, you know, the labels that can come on and then, you know, medicine to suppress those symptoms. It's actually aligning with, oh, okay, so how can I support body here in a way, because when body gets the support, it heals itself. We're
Right.
not healing body.
Right.
We're not
Right.
healing our feelings.
Right.
We're just bringing the loving acceptance and the support that
Mm,
creates the healing to happen on its own, really. So
I love that.
homeopathy is very, very much like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
forget how powerful our body actually is, right? Um,
Yes.
I've read the other day an article about how there's 14 generations of memories stored in our memories, in our cells. And I was like,
Right.
oh my God, right? Like this is, it's
Yeah.
amazing things that can
It
happen
is.
if we're actually letting our body like talk to us,
Mm.
right? If we're actually like accepting the body as like something that is very powerful, and you know, we're balancing it a little bit with the mind that we're paying so much attention to in this, you know, culture and society today. So wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hannah, thank you so much
One-
for this. It's a whole new
Welcome.
perspective. I love this. This is so great.
Yeah. I was just yesterday, it's interesting that you were bringing that up, because I was exploring how the egg that became fertilized, that became us, was in our grandmother. It was in our mother. So we, as women, we produce our eggs at 20 weeks in utero,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when we're the, the embryo, the fetus. So this, you know, so in my mother was in her womb, and the egg that I was to become was in her.
I know
And
that
it's
is
like,
the trippiest thing.
I know, right? Right. So as we're doing this work, you know, what we're calling the healing work, we are going back and doing the healing for our ancestors, for our feminine lineage, our male lineage also. We're connecting with that deep connection that we have, you know, the matriarchal connection. We're doing it for them. We're also doing it for our children, you know. So we have this phenomenal opportunity as women, and as men too, but we're focusing on women, especially as women, to be empowered for who we truly are, and what the magic of, you know, opening to our deep feelings, the effect that has for so many
Yeah, generations to come, 14 generations of
generations.
memories,
Yeah.
right? So hell yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I have two more questions for you, and then I let you go. I want to be respectful of your time. Okay, so this is the question that I ask everyone, and it is so wonderful because almost everyone that is in the birth world has a very similar answer. So I'm really excited about your answer. If you would be
Okay.
floating off in a spaceship tomorrow and you would be leaving Earth and we would never to be seen Hannah again, which would be very, very sad. But if you'd have one last important message that you would like to share with the world or with women in general, like what would it be?
Yeah. 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 What comes up for me is to trust, really trust in your present moment experience, that it's not a problem, no matter how intensely joyful, intensely painful, whatever, but that it's a doorway. It's the doorway into being more of who you truly are. It's a gift. And that's really the direction to love, and to embodying love and to spreading that love, to be good and trusting of your experience in this moment so that you can have all of who you are back. It's really all about you, all about me. It's all here inside of us as body.
I love
Yeah.
this. Thank you so much. You gave me just goosebumps all over. Oh, because it's like such a wonderful reminder to be present, and that the present moment is actually a gateway to love. Like that is so wonderfully put, and yeah, makes so much sense to me. And I think that's a great reminder too for every woman going through pregnancy, creating a new life, birthing a new life, is like, it's a magical moment, and it is a doorway to a deeper exploration of yourself, right? So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and whatever you're experiencing in this moment has to be right. It has to be. It is the doorway. So, just taking that into labor and birth and, definitely in pregnancy and parenting, oh my God, just to be as present as you possibly can and trust that even though you don't know why this is happening, what this is about, that there's something there if you open to it that's going to deepen you and be a real gift for you. Yeah.
You know what just comes to my mind was there is one sentence, and I hope I remember it right, in one of the process coaching books that says, basically, the universe has your back, right? The universe is always on your side. And this is like something that I remind myself over and over and over, right? In like, if it is business or private life or traveling, like, shit happens sometimes, right? And like, sometimes we forget, right? We're like, oh, what's going on? Like, I'm not meant to be here. I'm not meant to do this, or, I'm afraid to step up into myself, or all of these things, right? And like, I remind myself over and over that the universe has my back and wants my best, right? Like, I really, I think that's, it ties in well with that. And I really like that.
Yeah. That's great.
So Hannah, thank you so much. This was such an insightful exploration journey that you took us on here in this last hour. I would love for everyone to know how they can reach you, how they can, I'm sure they can find your book on Amazon, right? Or
Yes.
maybe do you have say it again, please?
The homeopathic childbirth. They can search on Amazon, and there's a website, homeopathicchildbirth.com.
Okay, I will make sure to put a link as well underneath the YouTube video so that people can get your book. And if they want to work with you, you said you have free coaching sessions that you do in the Process Coaching Center. So we will make sure, I will definitely put that link as well in the YouTube description. And please tell us how they can connect with you.
Yeah, so the website, the main website is processcoaching.org. And we offer free sample sessions, so 20 to 30 minute sessions, so you can get an experience of process coaching directly. It won't just be me, it'll be other coaches that are, available for that. And so you'll be posting a link for that.
Absolutely, yes. I will make sure you can just click and get it.
Great.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and to get a hold of me directly, it's just Hannah, HANNAH, at processcoaching.org.
Perfect.
So,
Wonderful.
thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for taking your time. And as we established earlier, it's not always easy to, put ourselves out there and speaking publicly and all of that. So I really appreciate you, just showing up here and sharing your wisdom and your beautiful energy and just being present with me. I really enjoyed this. This is really, really what I needed today. So, now I'm crying anyway. God damn it.
My pleasure.
So thank you. I really appreciated this.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us to this great interview. If you enjoyed this, please follow the Liberated Birth Movement on Facebook or subscribe to our channel. If you have more questions how to apply these ideas to your pregnancy and birth, schedule a call and we'll get you clear on what you want and how to get it. meetme.so/liberatedbirth. meetme.so/liberatedbirth. Always remember, birth belongs to women.